Tom, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, hi Graham.
Hi Tom.
You know what it feels like to concede a last gasp goal, like what happened in the last game against Palace. How did it feel to score it this time?
Well, it's probably physiologically the same response, but obviously the feeling is considerably better. Wonderful feeling for us now because to celebrate in front of our own supporters. 96th minute goal. It's fantastic when when the scoreline's 1-0. So we're of course delighted. I thought the players kept going, they kept pushing. I thought it was a tight game. Nothing really in the game. I think it was fairly even. Difficult place to play, difficult place to come, and we're happy with the points.
So, some great celebrations at the end. Neil Maupay in particular. Another great finish from him this season. He seems to be becoming more clinical than he has ever been.
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish. I think it was a great pass from Joel as well, whether he meant it or not, but I think it was a great pass from him. And it's to keep his calm and to it's an instinct one. It just bounced nicely for him, I think, and he could just lift it over the goalkeeper. So yeah, we're delighted. It's a point for us. It's 13 from six games. Performance-wise, we can do better. But like I said, credit to the opponent, credit to the environment here. It's not an easiest place to be perfect. We were far from perfect, but at the same time, I thought we still deserve something from the game.
That's good.
Thanks, Tom. George?
Hi, Graham. I'm sure you was probably aware that you could have gone top of the table tonight. Obviously, you probably don't feel any sort of disappointment now, but I guess probably a tiny bit sort of disappointed that you couldn't actually achieve that. I think it would have been the first time in the club's history.
Well, yeah, it's not something we think too much about, to be honest, what the league table says after 6 games. I think it's more the fact that we've played 6 matches, we've got 13 points. In the Premier League, that's more than 2 points a game, which is, a good start for us. It's a good foundation. We know we can still improve. We know that performance-wise we can do better. But at the same time, I have to credit the players because they keep going. The resilience is fantastic. The togetherness, the spirit is really, really good. And that gives you a chance to pick up points.
Yeah, I was going to say, you seem to have a lot more steel about you this season. You've had some tough games, tough away games, but you're sort of sticking in there and coming away with points, which maybe last season, you might have lost those games narrowly. Yeah,
and also you add into the factor that the crowd are back this year. So Burnley away, we've seen how difficult it is at Brentford. Here is not easy, at all. So, to pick up, I think it's 7 points from those 3 matches away from home. Again, credit to the players. Like I said, we haven't blown the teams away. We haven't been considerably the better team or anything like that, but we've been good enough to get points, stayed in the game. But still, like I said, we know we can improve as well, which is exciting.
Thanks, George. Richie, Nils, if you want to go next.
Graham, just want to ask a little bit like Brentford. You guys maybe weren't at your best, but you showed your fighting spirit. Do you think that was a game that you might have, and this one, sorry, was a game you might have lost last season?
Well, I think there's just lots of things, Richie, that's different this year in terms of the crowd are back, so they play a huge part in the game. Like I said, the environment is completely different. You've got a new manager that's implementing a different playing style here. I think they've signed some really good players, some young players, added energy into the team. So, there's always 2 teams on the pitch, and as much as we can talk about us, I think you've got to credit the opponent as well because they did what they did well. Like I said, I thought it was an even game overall. And I think we've probably just learned a little bit from last year. Like anything, you go through a process. Like I said, when we played Crystal Palace at home, we were the better team, we were the more dominant team, but we lost 2-1. And no one cares then how well you played. It's all about results. And this time we've managed to pick up some results, but knowing that we can still improve.
Just a quick one. How is Yves Bissouma, and what's the latest, please, with Alzati and Welbeck?
Bissouma's making decent progress. This game came a little bit short soon for him. We're hopeful that he can be available against Arsenal. We're hopeful, but we'll have to see at this back end of the week. And Stephen looked quite a bad one. he rolled his ankle, but somebody also landed on it. So we'll see how it goes over the next 24, 40 hours, but not a fantastic first diagnosis. And Danny just felt his hamstring a little bit. So again, we'll see over the next 48 hours how that is.
Thanks, Richie. Zia?
Hi, Graham. What aspects of the game that do you think that your team could actually improve on? And analysing the game, there weren't that many clear-cut chances in the game. Did that actually concern you a bit? And what aspects of the game do you think that your team can actually improve on? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, both teams, it wasn't like chances galore, was it? It was a tight game. I didn't think we created that much, and they did either. Like I said, it's a derby game in a very demanding atmosphere. But in our general build-up, especially first half, we weren't as good as we'd like to be. I thought second half we found some good spaces when we were brave. We got through the lines and attacked the back line quite well, but not enough as we'd like, and that's something we can improve.
Darren? Thanks, Zia.
Yeah, hello, Graham. Well done on the point.
Thank you.
Is it a deliberate change in tactics this season, the way you're setting up away?
Darren, we'll have to come back to you if you want to type your question in the chat because we're struggling to hear.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Brian Owen.
Sorry, Darren.
Thanks. Hi, Graham.
Hi, Brian.
Just want to ask you, obviously, with Eve missing, I was going to ask you how much you felt you might have missed him in the first half, or maybe it's better to ask how much you had to adapt your game as a team.
Well, yeah, I think you're going to miss a player of his quality. I think that's fair to say, but at the same time, you know, it's up to us to find a different solution. When it happens, you haven't got that much time to sort out, okay, what's the best options for us? I thought we struggled to get like a next line in midfield as much as we'd like, but I think they defended well as well. But the boys did it well. They kept pushing. Second half, we added sort of Pascal, Jakob, Stephen came in there as well to add another body. Probably helped us a little bit in terms of with our build-up and maybe to put a bit more pressure on them. But yeah, like I said, I didn't think the first half it was just a fairly even game. To be fair, not a great spectacle. Chances weren't loads, but it was the area where we can improve. I think is how we build up.
I was you had a view on the penalty decision as well, and the one when Welbeck thought he might have had a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Danny's one back. I think the fact that he gets his shot away probably doesn't do him any favours. Probably still a bit of contact maybe, but I don't know. I've not seen it. And I think the penalty looks a penalty from where we are. There's just an action before with Danny that was a little bit excessive, but in the current climate, I can see why it was given.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Andy?
Hi, Graham.
Hi, Andy.
Do you feel, in a sense, it's a bit of payback for what happened last season so far this season? There were so many games, weren't there, when you didn't really get what you deserved, and now you're perhaps on occasions getting a bit more than you've deserved. But do you think it's a sort of swings and roundabouts scenario?
Well, it's just one of those things. It's football is why we love it so much. It's not A plus B equals C. You know, if it was, then it'd be a bit dull. Lots of times last year, you know, I'm having to sit here and think, well, we've actually played well, created more chances. Opponents hardly had any chances, any shots, yet we haven't picked up the points. And you can only talk about luck for so long. You have to keep working. And that's what the players have done, in fairness to them. And we've all tried to keep going. You learn, of course, and you go through a process of pain and suffering. Come out the other side, and we'll have those moments again. That's for sure, Andy. We'll. That's how it is. Football is. Life isn't fair. Football isn't fair. You just have to deal with it when it's not, and then accept it when it is.
And just one on Neil, if I may. He seems to have his mojo back. There were just moments last season, weren't there, when he seemed to maybe have lost it a bit, one or two incidents and stuff, but he seems to have that back.
Well, we forget he's only a young guy, making his second season in the Premier League in a team that is playing well but isn't finishing off and isn't scoring. So maybe the pressure's on him. We're in a lockdown situation. There's no crowd. It's psychologically it's tough. And I think not seeing his family, lots of things can go on. But it's a process that I think he goes through. He grows as a person, just like we have as a team. And as you get older, you can put things into perspective a little bit better, see things a little bit clearer, and then it gives you more chance to enjoy your football.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Darren, do you just want to try again on that question? I don't know if your broadband's working now.
Yeah, can you hear me this time? My connection's a bit dodgy.
Yeah,
We got you now.
Yeah, good. Well done.
Till you started asking the
Graham,
question.
can I just check? Is it a deliberate change? Can you hear me?
Yeah, carry on.
Quick.
Is it a deliberate change in tactics this season for the away matches, like the Burnley, the Brentford, where you've sat back, been more resolute, or is that just how the matches have panned out?
I think it's a little bit of how the matches pan out. I mean, we always want to try and be positive and try and attack and build our attacks, but we know it's not always possible. And I think, especially with crowds back in, you have to deal with the fact that it's not as perfect as you'd like. And I think the boys have dealt with that quite well. We've stayed in the games, given ourselves a chance to pick up points because, as we saw last year, a lot of the times we played really, really well, performed really well, but it doesn't necessarily mean you get the points. It's not to say we want to try and play badly. Of course, we don't want to do that. We want to play well, but it's important that you have a resilience. It's important that you have a character, the spirit, and all those things that you need to see out moments in the game, to stay in the game, and then we have to acknowledge that we want to try and improve as well.
Yeah. And just one quick one, if I may. Joel Veltman's performance tonight. What did you make of that? He was up against a really tricky opponent, but seemed to play very well. I
thought he was fantastic. Zaha gives you an incredible test. I thought he did it really well. Like I said, great pass for the goal as well. So yeah, he's had a really, really. I mean, he's missed some time for pre-season issues that we've had in terms of COVID and things that we don't speak too much about, but we've had. He just gets on with it, and really pleased for him.
Thanks, everyone.